Hi, welcome to LeetCode. In this, we will discuss LeetCode problem 3440 reschedule meetings for maximum free time 1. So in the previous video, I have already explained the problem variant 1. If you have not yet solved that problem, please first solve that problem, then try to solve this problem. So you are given an integer event time denoting the duration of an event. So you are also given two integers arrays, start time and end time. So event time actually means the ending of the event. So it will always start from 0 to event time. Okay. Now also there are two different array. One is the start time and another end time. So start time I indicates that the what is the starting time of the event I, and similarly for end time I, it indicates the ending time of the event I. Okay. So in this problem variant 2, second variant, you can reschedule at most one meeting, and in the previous variant 1 you can actually reschedule at most k meetings, right? So okay, at most one meeting by moving its start time while maintaining the same duration. Okay, such the meetings remain non-overlapping to maximize the longest continuous period of free time. So we have to maximize the continuous period of free time. So we have to return the maximum amount of free time we can actually get. So but in the previous variant, variant 1, you have to maintain the order, right? But in this version, it is valid to relative ordering of the meetings to change after rescheduling one meeting. So you can actually change the order here. Suppose for this example 1, the event time is 5, so it will start from 0 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now they mention that one event is starting at 1 to 3. 1 to 3, 1 to 3, another is 2 to 5. Sorry, this is starting at 1, ending at 2. So 1 to 2. Next is starting at 3 and ending at 5, right? So this is the 2 event. Now this is event 1 and this is event 2. But for this version, in this problem, you can change the order. Means you can actually, in this way actually you can shift event 2 in this front. Then what will happen? Event 2 will be before event 1. So this is possible. Okay. So we can actually change the order. Now in this actually problem, we can reschedule only one meeting, at most only one meeting. So suppose we have these 3 events. Okay. Event 1, event 2 and event 3. So this is gap 1, this is gap 2 and this is suppose gap 3, this is gap 4. So suppose event 1, I want to reschedule this event 1. So where actually I can shift, there is no space before that. We can actually shift that at the front, right, at the front, or we can shift this into this in between, or I can shift this to at the end, right? I can actually shift anywhere because there's mentioned that we do not need to maintain the order. So that's why I can actually shift at the front, at the, like we can actually shift any gap, whatever actually gap actually I have, right? So on which gap actually I can actually shift that this event. So this is the suppose length 1. Suppose length 1 actually 2. And this gap 2 is suppose 1. Can I place this event to this free time? No. Because for this event, duration of this event is 2, but my gap is 1. So how can they mention that we have to reschedule in such a way that this is actually non-overlapping. So if we shift this event here, so it will actually overlap, right? One will be here and next 1 second or 1 unit of time will be overlapped to this event 3. So this is not possible. So I can actually only choose those gap actually greater than equals to the length or duration of current event that we are trying to reschedule, right? So it may be possible that the gap is present, the possible gap is present at the front, or the front means the left side or on the right side, right? So we need to calculate, we need to actually find out that this actually gap is present or not. Is there any gap that actually length is greater than or equals to the current duration or event that we are trying to shift? So this is one possible. So there are two situations possible. Case one is, suppose this is event 1, event 2, and this is event 3, okay, and this is gap 1, this is gap 2, okay. Now I want to shift this event to in this range, in this left side, or in the right side of this, okay. Suppose I got one space here, suppose, then it will be shifted there. Now what will be our gap? We have to maximize the gap. Then if I shift this current event 2 E2 into the in this space, in S2 or S1, then what will be our gap? Our gap will be then G1 plus G2, right? Correct? G1 plus G2, because it will be actually remove G1 plus G2 plus this length, because this also be actually freed. So that's why the gap will be that time G1, that actually already gap here, and the G2 plus the length that actually it will be actually we can actually gain. Got it? This will make gap for this. When actually you are able to find any gap that actually present the left side of the previous event E1 or right side of the next event E3, then actually this is possible gap. And next it is possible that we did not find any such gap. Then what will happen? Case 2. Then what actually do? The same situation, we actually have event 1, this is event 2, and this is event 3, and this is Z1 and Z2. We did here actually length, right? We have not found any place or any gap that actually present in the space 1 or in the space 2, right side of the next event E3. So that time what will we did not find anything. So what actually our we can actually do? We can actually shift this to this here or here, right? Then actually we can actually get the continuous space, continuous free space. Then what will be the free space after that? If we shift this E2 in this way, attached to E3 or attached to E1, then what will be our gap? Gap will be G1 plus G2 ultimately. Alright. So this will be our current gap. I can actually got it. So two situations are possible. If I get any space that actually in the space 1 or space 2, then actually I will get, then our gain will be G1 plus G2 plus length of the event or the duration of the event. Else if we didn't find any space, then actually what will be our gap will be G1 plus G2, right? So how actually you can find this? So suppose for E1, E2, E3. So for this we are, when we are actually trying to shifting this shift this event 2, then we are trying to space that is there any left side of this previous event E1, is there any gap that length greater than or equals to this current length, that we are trying to find, right? And similarly for right side we are trying to find this in the E3, is there any right side of this, is there any gap that is greater than or equals to length. Then how actually can find this? So for left side, then we can actually do the prefix sum or prefix array that actually calculate the for each event. Then what will be the actually the maximum gap actually I have found, right? Similarly for when you are trying to find the right side of this, that will be used by suffix array. Got the logic? How actually I use the prefix array and the suffix array here. So how can I actually find this? So suppose E1, E2, E3. So our event start with from 0 and event time will be ending at event time, right? So we will find out that this event 1, so our gap will be 0. in this event. What you are trying to find this? You are trying to find that what is the maximum gap. So we're actually in this I, we are storing the maximum event at the I minus 1. So that's why whatever the actually maximum gap actually I have seen till I minus 1, that will be stored in the index I, right? Clear? And suffix, this is for prefix. When you are trying to suffix, whatever the actually the I plus 1 maximum gap actually I have seen, I plus 1th event, that will be stored at the index I of suffix array. That what is the maximum gap actually I have seen till I plus 1, that will be stored in the I, because I actually whenever index I, then actually check that what for this, what is actually the right side, what is the maximum gap actually I have seen. Similarly for from the prefix array I will see that what is the left side, whatever the maximum gap actually I have seen. Alright, so this will actually help us to solve this big of n time. So now go to the actually code, that will be more easy to understand. So n is the number of events actually I have, and I have taken two array, one is for prefix and another for suffix, and the size actually I have united to the n plus 1. So when you are trying to calculate the prefix array, that time our starting ending will be initially 0, and answer that actually I have to return initially starting with starting time of the event 0. That will be the gap, starting time 0 and minus 0. I have not subtract with 0. Okay. Now what I have to trying to find out that the gap means like whatever the end time previous ending time of the previous event and the current starting time. So gap will be what? Starting time of the current event minus the ending time of the previous event. Now I will modify this with the answer if it is the maximum gap I have found. So now next also I have to populate the ending time of the current event. This will actually go to for the next event. It will help the where actually the previous event actually ended. Now I am storing where it is storing I plus 1, right? I plus 1 actually storing the what? The whatever the actual maximum gap I have seen in the index I, and the current gap. What is the current gap? You can see that current gap is the ending, the previous ending minus current starting time. So this is I plus 1, I plus 2. So this is suppose I minus 1. So here this gap actually this is the gap previous ending. So this is the previous ending and the current starting. Okay. For actually I am storing this gap, I am trying to store this here. Got it? So why? Because when I am trying to shift this event anywhere, then actually I just have to check this whatever actually the prefix value I have seen. So in the prefix value I am trying to find this what is there any space that is present in the left side of the previous event. Got it? How actually helping us here? I don't need to go to the actually the I minus 1. It's already having the index I. Whatever the actually prefix maximum gap actually I have seen the left side. Got it? And similarly in this actually I have calculated the prefix gap or prefix array, where actually storing the index I, whatever the maximum gap actually I have seen till I minus 1, right? And at the after that actually calculate the maximum gap also. Maximum gap will be what? The event time actually I have and the ending time of the last event, n minus 1. And again I will calculate this suffix array now. Suffix array will be what? The next event, the starting time will be the event time, because this is the rightmost time actually I have, and I am starting from I is equal to n minus 1 to I greater than equals to 0, I minus. And gap will be what? The starting time for the next event time, and the ending time of the current event. Okay, here actually I have used this in this logic. Suppose I actually here I minus 1, I plus 1. Okay, so this is suppose I plus 2. So this is the gap, right? Suppose this is the gap, right? So in this case actually I am storing this gap into this index only. So this will be suffix of I will store the gap and the maximum value of suffix of I plus 1 then I plus 2 in this way. Okay, in this actually I'm storing this suffix of I. Now, so that time when actually I'm trying to find out the maximum gap I actually have in the right side of this next event of the right side of the next event, then actually what actually I can do, I actually do the suffix of I plus 1. Got it? Why actually I plus 1 that time? Because for suffix array I am storing in this way, that's why I have to go to the next event as I plus 1. You can actually do the similar thing for the prefix array also, but I have stored in different way. That time for the prefix array I don't need to go to the I minus 1 because I have already stored that value into the index I. Okay, but for suffix array I have stored in this way, that's why I have to go to the I plus 1. Got it? So actually you can see that suffix of I am storing the current gap and the suffix of I plus 1, because it may possible that maximum gap is present on the right side of this event also. So that's why I am storing this. What are the maximum value? I will take this, and start will be modified to the starting of the current event, because it will be the next time, it will be the starting time, and the ending time will be the next event of the previous event of the next ending time. Got it? In this actually I have actually populated the suffix array. It is clear. Now for each event I will try to shift that event in any place. Actually I will have to check that where actual place is possible, eligible. Okay, so if our current event is 0, means this is the first event, that time our starting time will be, or the previous ending of the event will be 0, else it will be ending time of the I minus 1. Right, so this is for the previous event, and for the next event, that is I am in the middle, I am suppose in I. So if there is an I minus 1, then the ending time will be ending time of the I minus 1. Else if there is no ending, this is suppose I is 0 first event, so that time the ending time will be 0. Got it? And suppose I actually have I actually have the next event, so that time our starting time of the next event will be what? Event time of the starting time of the I plus 1, st of the I plus 1. Here actually st means starting time of the I plus 1. Else if it is the last event, then there is no event at the next to it, so that time our next event starting time will be event time. Got it? So similarly for this next start will be I is equal to n minus 1, then this is the last event, then our next time will be event time. If it is we actually have any event next to it, so that time the next start time will be the st of I plus 1. Okay, so this is now calculating the total gap. Total gap means this is the total gap. We actually have event 1, we have E2, we have E3. Now we have G1 plus G2, but here actually gap means this gap, total gap. Okay, so this will be the starting time of event 3 minus ending time of the E1. So this will be the total gap. Total gap actually I have. Got it? Starting of the event 3 and the ending time of the event 1. Got it? So this is total gap. So if I somehow can possible to shift in this left or right, then actually our gain will be this gap. Got it? So this is the total gain actually I can get. So this is for the previous event and the next event. Got it? So what is the total gap? So and length of the current event will be event time of the ending time of the current event EI, ETI, and the minus of ST of starting time of the current event I. So this is the length or duration. So if I able to reschedule this in the left side of previous event or in the right side of the next event. So how actually you going to do that? I will check the previous of I. This already I have checked, so that's why I don't need to go to the I minus 1. So whatever this maximum gap actually I have seen in this I minus 1, that is greater than equals to length, then actually I can actually shift this to on that gap, right? Else it may be possible that we have seen any right side of the next event, that gap suffix of the I plus 1. In this case actually I have to go to the I plus 1. Got it? Because I have stored in this way that we actually storing, I have to go to the actually find out the is there any greater gap, or yes, gap size is greater than the current length in the rights of the next event. right? So that's why suffix array of I plus 1. Next event greater than equals to length, then so I can shift this. So that time our answer will be will be compared with the gap, current gap. Current gap will be what? The total gap. If I remove the event 2, that will be this will be gap. If I have removed this event 2 here or here, something anywhere, then our gain will be whatever the gap actually I have, total gap. Ending starting time of the event 3 minus ending time of the event 1. Now else means there is no gap in the right side or the left side of this previous event. Then what will be our gain? I will just shift this to event 1 or E2. I actually shared both the situation. I will actually attach both E1, E2 and E3 will be here. So that time our gap will be what? G1 plus G2, or actually what actually I can say, the total gap actually I have, total gap actually I have already calculated, gap minus length, right? Because total gap will be here, and I will actually attach this. So we will lose this value, length. Got it? Logic is clear. So that time our answer will compare with gap minus length. Got it? And ultimately at the end return the answer. I hope this is clear. If you like the explanations, please like the video. If you not yet subscribe, please subscribe the channel. And if you have any doubt, any suggestion, you will comment on that. And also one more thing, I actually shared this code in the description. You will actually see that actually. Thank you.